forgot to hide you in the beginning, so you're good. Welcome back to the
I'm
month of miracles.
exposed.
You're exposed. Welcome back to the month of miracles. We are so glad that you're here. If you have not joined us yet and you're watching us on YouTube, you can go to learnlivefly.com/miracles, where you can register and you'll get all the reminders for the other miracle stories, as well as the replays for all the rest we've done. We started on October 23rd and we're 24th, and we're going all the way till November 23rd in preparation for Thanksgiving. So we cannot just focus on gratitude, but really gratitude for the goodness of God in the way that he shows up for us in miracles, big and small. So I'm really excited for you today to hear from my dear friend, Bronwyn. I don't even know how many years we've been friends now. What, like 10?
Yeah,
8?
let's go with that.
8, 10, something like that. She's fabulous. And it was one of those divine things. Like, we lived, 45 minutes away from each other. And I just remember seeing her post in a homeschool group. They were selling bread with her kids and they were raising money and selling bread. And I was like, she's cool. She's like this entrepreneur mom who wants to help her kids and sell bread. And I'm like, I'm in, I'll help. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to drive 45 minutes to get bread. And I'm like, I messaged her. I'm like, we should just be friends. And it turned out we are, and just soul sisters. And I love her so much. So we've done all the life journeys of the ups and the downs together. And it's just been really cool to see how God shapes each of our journeys and the different miracles that come along with that. So Bronwyn is amazing. She runs the Shaoli Hope Center for Healing and has a collaboration full of women who are really, really heart-centered to help you in your healing journey. And I'm excited to hear from her about her miracle with her daughter, shared with permission today. And I'm going to turn it over to her, and I might pop back in a minute, but I'm going to go on mute while she talks and we'll come back in and out. But thank you, Bronwyn, for being here.
Hello. Oh, this is a story that I'm just going to share this from my heart. It is something that started my daughter is 16 now, and she was like 11 and 12 years old when all of this went down. And then when she finally got through to me, and when God finally got through to me to help her, she was about 13 years old. And now she goes around telling people about her gratitude for it. And she's writing a book about it. And she talks about it every day, all the little intricacies that she figures out. She's like me. She analyzes all the things so she can help somebody else see things too. So back in I can't even remember the year. What was it? I don't know. I didn't go do that math, but when she was 11 years old, she was developing some friendships. She was getting not treated so great at school, and she developed some friendships with a couple of girls that were into things that were very confusing, and that led her into like some witchy things and some hating her body so much. And this is how she talks about it: hating her body so much and being so depressed that she wanted to mutilate her body, which she was doing on her arms on a daily basis. And then it turned into her thinking that if she could just be a boy instead, then she might be more of herself. And I say this very tentatively because I know this is super, super, super touchy subject, but for her, it was peer pressure. For her, it was so much peer pressure. And these were her only friends, and she didn't want to be without friends. And I'm watching her go through this, and I'm seeing these friends who are exceptionally great manipulators, and they have me going, and I'm like, oh no, they're good kids. You know, we give everybody a chance. We love everybody. And my kids don't have a phone until they're 16. So all of the texts were coming through my phone, and that's how she was communicating with them. And so I would like intercept things that were kind of weird. She knew this. She knew I was looking at everything. And she was cool with it. And I would intercept certain things that were like really dark and really like making fun of things that really do equal self-hate, like body hate. And I'm all about the body love, you know, that's like what I do. You got to love your body. You got to love yourself. It's important that you even know what your body is telling you. and just like treat your body like the best baby ever and that you're the best mommy ever and love it so much. And she was just leaning in really hard with these other girls into hating her body to such an extent that like I said, she was hurting herself. And my worry was that she would accidentally go too deep and that it would end her. And she told me that she actually often thought of doing that during that time. So what happened was, I'm watching all of this. I say I'm like very, very loving and accepting. I see these kids and I see all their potential and the possibilities, and they were very, very good at deceiving me about their intentions. And again, they were like doing things like rituals and stuff like that, and just very, very dark. And it was inviting some really dark things into our family. And my daughter would say things like this to me in front of them. And I was so oblivious because I was like, no, we love and you can choose and you're totally capable. She would say, Mom, you really need to stop saying yes to me about going and doing so many things. You really need to say no to me a lot more often. And she was talking about going and hanging out with her friends in front of them. You need to say no to me. You shouldn't let me go just hang out so often. You need to say no to me. And I'm going, why are you saying this to me? You can choose. Just say no if you don't want to go. Right? She's asking me to rescue her, and I didn't pick it up. And so after a lot of that, and this went on again from the time she was 11 until she was 13, almost 14. And this one day it was the middle of the night, 2:30 in the morning. God woke me up and it was like, wake up. And I knew I had to go. It was go look at everything on her computer. And I'm like, okay, I just figured that it was the same as on my phone. Right. But she had all of these, all the social media stuff where she had this whole different identity and she was being groomed for, what I now understand to be the road down to human trafficking. And just this crazy pornography, awful stuff online. And so I looked at everything and then I sat down on the couch and I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? And a couple of days before this, she had just said, Mom, I want you to call me he, him. And I went, huh, I don't quite know what to do with that, but are you okay, if I don't? And she's like, sure, whatever. Like, okay, I don't know where this is coming from. Cause for me, that was like that blindsided me because she hadn't told me that she was going that way about it. She just hung out with them and it looked like they were, like girlfriends, like this little threesome kind of thing. And not best friends. It was beyond that. And I could see that, but I didn't know she was going in the direction of wanting to become a different gender. And so I woke up that middle of the night, 2:30 in the morning, and did that. And then I sat down, I'm like, what do I do with this? And I felt like I needed to go and just Google, what if my daughter wants me to call her a boy? And I didn't feel like, I don't know. I didn't feel like she was like super sincere about me wanting to call her that. I had just picked her up from her friends and it felt like she'd been coached. And she was like, okay, whatever about it, And so when I felt like I needed to go to Google, I just looked up what do I do? And everything said, do it, definitely do it, lean in, and I was like, I just don't feel like that's really the best thing to do. And I kept researching. And I found that there were some families that were like this. It was like really rapid onset situation where it was brought on by peer pressure, same as with what she will tell you. I'm telling you this from her perspective. This is her experience. And she felt like it was all peer pressure. And it was just like super duper deep, deep, deep depression. So deep self-hate that she just felt like she couldn't be here. She didn't want to be in her body. And she thought maybe this would help. Right. And what we discovered and what I looked up, and she was completely cooperative, was just to stop letting her have access to the internet altogether. And she's like, okay. And it was almost like this huge relief. I said, you can use your computer, write stories, be creative, be you. But we're just going to take access to the internet away. And she's like, okay. And she didn't complain. And that was my big clue that like, okay, we're on the right track, because she was really on board with all of the choices that we were doing. And she never got angry at me. She was super grateful. And, we went in and we actually, I don't know, this is kind of bold. we went into her bedroom. I had my husband take the kids up to Park City to have an adventure day. And I stayed home and I just gutted her bedroom with her permission and went through everything again with her permission. She knew I was going to do this. We agreed that it was a good thing. And she was like, thank you for taking care of me, and, I found all this art and stuff in her journals that indicated it was like she was there one day having this struggle, and the next day it wasn't her anymore, writing in her journal. It was really weird. So I'm like, what is this? And then we've talked about it since. She calls it dark that took her over. And like that's its name kind of thing. And this is really vulnerable. And so I went through and I just cleansed everything. And during the time, at the time that I was saying that this is what, this is how it is in my house now, get out. And this is how it is for my family, get out. They were up in Park City. She passed out. Whew. And she got back up and it was like she was herself again. It was huge. It's a huge miracle.
Wow.
Yeah.
And thank her for being able, like, giving you permission to share this, because this is a tender thing for
It's
her,
so
for
tender.
your family. But what a powerful impact it can have to help somebody else who maybe is struggling.
And that's why she's writing her book, because she's like this. And she actually is friends with other people who felt like they were peer pressured into thinking that, well, like, what if I don't have any friends anymore? What if they're mad at me? It's a big fear for a kid, especially when they're 12 and 13. Right. And so like they're friends with each other because they get each other. They went through the same kind of things. Right. It's kind of cool.
Good.
So
I will let you carry on. For anybody who stepped in at the end, I fixed my name down at the bottom. It has the link in it. So if you want to join us at the end, we're going to have Q&A with Bronwyn for just a few minutes after. So if you go to that link and register, it will send you the Zoom link where you can hop in the back here. If you have any questions or you just want to ask something that maybe we didn't share, or express something that you just need to share in a safe space, we can do that. The Q&A part is not recorded and it's not saved on YouTube where the public can see it. So you're welcome to come and join us there if that's something that's calling you. Okay, carry on.
Oh, okay. Well, where do I want to go with this now? So now she talks about it almost every day. She's like, I noticed this, and Mom, I didn't tell you this, but we were doing this, and this is what I get from this now that I'm thinking about it. And especially because she is writing her book about it, and she has friends that are going through similar things, and she's just really good at holding space for them to go through their journey and just love them through it. She goes to these youth conferences, and she's not one to like want a lot of attention drawn to her unless she's in like a play or something, doing drama. But she will get up at the pulpit in front of hundreds of kids and bear her witness that she knows God takes care of her, because he woke up her mom one night and had me do all that for her. So that's the story. That's the miracle. It's huge. And it has had a cascading effect on our family. It has impacted all of us in a really beautiful way. And our family just gets along really well and has a lot of compassion for each other and going through all of our different weird things that we go through. And, we just have a really good relationship around here, which is interesting too, because we still did, even when she was going through all of that, And she'll even look back. She's like, I always trusted you. I always trusted you because you always just loved me the whole time. And that is true. I always did, but I didn't waver on my standards. I'm like, we're going to include God in everything. So very, very grateful. And, that's pretty much the story. So.
Love that. That's so powerful. And the miracle that when you have that pure intention and you go to God and you ask him to cleanse everything and to heal it, that it can be like that.
It was fast. Yeah.
The fact that, she passed out. Like some people be like, oh my gosh, are you freaking out? And you're like, no, this is a good thing.
Yeah. We didn't put two and two together until later. They were out in the heat. She was hot, whatever, but she was the only one that passed out. And it was at that moment. So that was interesting. It was pretty cool.
It's so cool to look back and see how God's in the detail and how sometimes we don't see it in the moment, but following those little promptings of this is what I need to do right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your husband was taking care of her however he needed to when she passed out at the same moment. But then seeing from the backside, oh wow, look how good God is that she was in a place and protected, and hopefully she didn't hide her head on the concrete or whatever happened.
Right. They caught her.
Yeah. That whatever happened, just to know that God's in the details and he's so aware of us. And it's really, it's kind of awkward to say this, but I'm really excited because of her journey. Because I know her.
Yeah.
And I know her amazingness. And to be able to see what God is going to do and the mission that she has the world because of the struggle she went through. And to realize that even though we're in the hard, that might be part of our miracle story.
I think that is always true. Always. Yeah. And there was a big chunk of time when she was like, Mom, I don't even know if I believe in God. And now it's like, God's real. I know because I had this experience and I know that the other side of that is real. So I can tell you right now, God's real and God's good and all things, and she just lives in gratitude. It's fun.
It's beautiful. It almost sounds like Alma the Younger type of thing where it's like, I went
right?
far away and it's like, okay, wait, 100 million% in. As I know.
And she is definitely all in. I love her. She brings me a lot of joy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you? What little miracles did you see along the way?
For me,
like the being guided to how to help and how to show up in love, even though things were hard. I'm sure that was part of it. But do you have any moments where you're like, okay, I totally knew God was in that with me?
All of it. I can't deny. I mean, he woke me up in the middle of the night and I was afraid. When you look up all the other stuff that happens with other people in this realm of topic, things don't go so great with relationships and it could go so many different ways. And it was like, for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to be fearless. I've got to be me about this. I'm linking arms with God. That's how I live. She knows that. And I just say, okay, I got this prompting. I know this is what I need to do. This is my step to take. And now that's how she walks. You know what I mean? It's so for me though, I was afraid. That was a big leap. It was a huge risk. I felt scared. I didn't know what she would do to herself. And I hadn't realized yet that she was crying for help. I was scared, and so I felt like I was carried through that night to make those decisions with clarity. Even I was wide awake, and with all that clarity to say, okay, no more internet. That's the solution. I know. I'm scared. Don't let her hate me, because I care so much about my kids. I couldn't have those relationships be destroyed, but I needed to make sure I was taking care of her as a mother. So just relying on God that way and then having it come about. And that's, I think, really the biggest miracle of the whole thing, because it could have gone such a different way. but I knew I needed to do it. So the miracle is it actually played out in a positive way, right? In a happy way. And she's so much happier. She shows me her scars. She's like, do you think these are ever going to go away? And I'm like, yeah, eventually, probably. We'll get some essential oils or something and put them on there.
Friend, use Immortelle.
Immortelle. Yeah.
It'll work.
So
yeah, but that's a powerful story. And thank her for us again, please.
I will. It brought us together, like with like my husband. We were having a really hard time during that time. And so having this point where we were one with each other was really, that's one of the ways it cascaded. So for me, that was another, beginning of another miracle as well. So is that what you're looking for?
That's
There's
perfect.
so many.
We're looking for whatever the Spirit wants you to share. So that was absolutely perfect.
I have to say, even just sharing this feels like scary, but I know this was the topic for today. Like just putting this out there in the world where this is such a controversial topic. And for her, it was like this, whereas for somebody else, it's different, right? Ooh.
Yeah.
No judgment, all love.
all love. So hopefully those of you who are listening, if you didn't hear the whole story, go back to the beginning and watch it when we're done. Because it's an amazing transformation and how God works in the details and how he helps and guides us. And you were mentioning how she was calling out for help and asking you, hey, don't let me hang out with my friends, but you didn't see it.
I couldn't see it until after.
Open our eyes, pay attention to the words our kids are using and how they're using them, and be able to ask, oh, is this something I need to be concerned about? And then trusting that you're the best parent for your kid, no matter how hard things might be in the moment, that God knows, and he's going to guide you what that child needs or what your spouse needs or what you need step by step, day by day. And that's why the whole focus on personal revelation, it's critical. Because one's journey is exactly the same. But if we can anchor into that personal revelation and say, what do I do in this moment? I was talking to somebody the other day, I don't even remember who it was, but we had some similar-ish hard things in my home, not the same realm, but in the fact that it was hard. And it was like, how did you get through that? One day at a time, one moment at a time. God, in this moment, what do I do in this moment? And then you do that, and then the next moment comes, you say, what do I do in this moment? And it's this sanctification process of saying, okay, God, I'm in. I know that you're here. I know that you love me and you love this kid more than I do. And I love them a lot. So that's got to be a lot. So you're going to help me in whatever that looks like. So I encourage you guys to look for the miracles, watch for them, watch for the ways that God's guiding you that maybe you're missing. And even just ask, help me have eyes to see, ears to hear, hearts that know and understand, so that I can end up with a happy ending like you did, to be able to have the resolution of something really hard to come out in a beautiful way. Yeah.
And don't be guided by your fear. Like, I think that was the biggest thing that I'm like, okay, I'm afraid, but I can't be guided by my fear. Let's go. It's got to be different.
Yeah. And doing it, even if it seems hard, even if you think people are going to hate you or be mad at you, or like, Mom, you took my phone, or whatever the reason, just do it, because God knows, and it'll always work out better if you listen than if you don't.
Yeah, and it really might surprise you like it did over here. It surprised me. Big.
Okay. So good. Thank you for sharing your heart and being here. For those of you on YouTube, if you haven't done so yet, in my name there, learnlivefly.com/miracles, go register and you can hop over on Zoom with us, where you can be here and ask Bronwyn some questions. We'll be here for 10-15 minutes. And then we'll be hopping off. So this is the end of our YouTube. So goodbye, YouTube people. And anyone else, hop over to the Q&A and we'll see you in a minute.